Soft on crime DAs. This is absolutely outrageous. The number one job of government is to protect people and property. It's not to push critical race theory. It's not to attack parents for being concerned about the quality of their education. It's to make sure that we do something about crime. The good news is tomorrow, the San Francisco DA, Chester Bowden, will very likely be recalled. And right now, there's a movement to gather enough signatures to recall George Gascon, the DA of Los Angeles County. In LA, where I'm living right now, Sean, homicides are up year to year, almost 40%. Shootings are up year to year, almost 40%. And it's now coming to the suburbs. There's an area in LA called Hancock Park where Maxine Waters has her $5 million mansion. A UCLA graduate student was stabbed to death by a guy with a very long sentence, should not have been out on the streets. And in Beverly Hills, a guy broke into a home owned by an 80-year-old retired record mogul, murdered his 80-year-old wife. Again, long criminal record, never should have been out on the streets. These soft on crime DAs that believe in cashless bail, that believe that bad guys basically are victims of society as opposed to victimizing society, have to go.
You know, I'm looking at this video, Trey, and this is happening almost every day, almost in every city. In this particular case, it's a guy using a car that can kill people. We saw what happened at the Boston Marathon. People think what? Criminals are going to obey the gun laws that we pass. By their very nature, they don't obey laws, do they?
No, they don't. They don't. In fact, look, Sean, I think the Democrat leadership in this country has failed the American people. You look at how they're letting all these violent offenders constantly remain on the streets after committing these violent crimes. I mean, it's almost like they don't realize that these are gateway crimes that these individuals. Run over this family like this. I mean, thank God nobody was killed. But look, the bottom line is all that does is if he's getting a slap on the wrist, all that does is creates an opportunity for him to come back and continue to do this same behavior over and over again. There's no accountability. And I think America, look, we don't have a problem. You hear over and over again people talking about the guns are the issue, the mental health are an issue. We don't have, those are not the issues. The issues is accountability in this country. We don't have accountability, and our leadership is selling American people off the road.
In almost every city and every state that went along, Larry, with defund, dismantle, no bail laws, we see crime, you know, going through the roof. You mentioned L.A. It's nationwide. There's a direct correlation between the policies and the increase in violence and murders and shootings, et cetera. Why is that so hard to put together?
Absolutely. And this whole narrative that the police are engaging in systemic racism, when in fact they kill more unarmed whites every year than unarmed blacks, when study after study after study has shown that if anything, the police are more hesitant, more reluctant to pull the trigger on the black suspect than the white suspect, has led to this passive policing where the police are pulling back. Bad guys know it. Crime goes up. When you reduce the chance of a bad guy being caught, being convicted, being incarcerated, crime goes up. They may be criminals, but they're not stupid.
You know, we showed this video earlier in the program, Trey. Hunter Biden naked. We're told, I read one report said it's a hooker. We can't confirm that. But with a woman, and he's got his gun out. And I'm listening to Joe Biden lecture the country about guns. And I'm thinking, for God's sake, Joe, to use his words, why don't you get your son to handle a firearm a little bit more safely? And maybe you shouldn't be putting the firearm in a dumpster near a school. How come he's not in jail?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The gun issue is a political football, Sean. All they want to use is they want to use the gun issue to ride it all the way through the election. But let me go in and give you some facts about these guns, right? Last year, there was 693 mass shootings. We had 220 mass shootings right now in America. And guess what? The Democrats claim to be the champion of the people of the inner city. And guess where all these shootings are happening at? They're happening in the inner city where all of our black and minority people are being killed. So that if the Democrats really want to do something about the people, they should get there and do something about the gangs and let these violent offenders out on our streets to victimize our community over and over again.
And by the way, we'll have the big, theater on Thursday night about January 6th. What about the 574 riots in the summer of 2020? Well, I'd like to see that committee come up one day, but I won't hold my breath. Larry, thank you. Trey, thank you. When we come back, Kevin McCarthy calling out the January 6th committee for their obvious political stunt. We'll show you what he said. We'll get reaction. Laura Trump, Joe Concha, they weigh in as we continue.
As a homeowner, you've worked diligently to build equity in your home. You may even have paid it off, and that's a great feeling. But I need you to understand, without protection, you are at high risk of a quickly growing new cybercrime. You probably take precautions to keep your personal information out of the hands of criminals. But your home title and your signature on that title are publicly accessible information. They're out there for anyone to find, and I mean anyone. With a forged signature and fake notary stamp on one simple document, home thieves anywhere in the world can fraudulently transfer your home title out of your name. And you won't even know it happened until it's too late. Without Home Title Lock, you are unprotected from the sale of your home and equity-draining loans against you. Protect yourself from this nightmare now with Home Title Lock.
Go to HomeTitleLock.com or call 800-938-4428 for 30 days free today.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial to bring you my BOGO extravaganza. For example, you get one of my Giza Dream bed sheets and you get a second set absolutely free, or my 6-piece towel sets. Buy one set, get another one absolutely free. Or get my classic premium MyPillow and get another one absolutely free. So call the number on your screen or go to mypillow.com and use your promo code to get my buy one, get one free offers and get deep discounts on all MyPillow products.
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer need? Now you can sell your policy, even a term policy, for an immediate cash payment.
We thought we had planned carefully for our retirement.
But we quickly realized we needed a way to supplement our income.
If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify to sell your policy. Don't cancel or let your policy lapse without finding out what it's worth. Visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if your policy qualifies. Or call 1-800-515-4100. Coventry Direct, redefining insurance.
Free speech fail on campus? Inside one professor's claims against Georgetown. Ilya Shapiro on why he handed the school his resignation. Don't miss Tucker Carlson tonight.
These folks don't have time to go to the post office. They use Stamps.com. All the services of the post office only cheaper. Get a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. Go to stamps.com/try and never go to the post office again.
Oh, this one is perfect.
Not as perfect as this one.
That is not a mango, Lenny.
No, but this mango hint water tastes just like mango, and with no calories or sweetness.
How can water taste just like fruit?
How can our feet look just like our hands?
How
can our feet look just like our hands?
Oh boy, I'm freaking out here.
For a limited time, new customers get 40% off on our top flavors at drinkhint.com.
Larry!
Lenny! The hint was delicious.
That's 36 bottles for $36. Only $1 per bottle.
Relax, pal. The Nature Show guy's got a whole cooler full.
And if you order now, we'll ship it right to your door for free.
Please tell me you heard that voice.
Stuffy pants, disembodied British fella? Oh, yeah.
Hint. Water with a touch of true fruit flavor.
There are still times when I don't have money for food and I have nothing to give my daughter, Elena from Arizona. No one should have to worry where their next meal will come from. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Now, House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy is calling out the sham January 6th committee for their shameless political stunts, and they're hiring now of a former ABC News producer to orchestrate this political theater. McCarthy tweeted, quote, "The Democrats now have turned to the former ABC News exec under whose leadership ABC News spiked a story on Jeffrey Epstein to choreograph their January 6th political theater." Here with reaction, Fox News contributors Joe Concha, Laura Trump. All right, so Laura, this is the same guy spikes this story that would have exposed Epstein many years ago. I find it fascinating that it's going to be a Hollywood production with all the license of Hollywood. They're going to keep out the main testimony, the 5 people that were in the room that acknowledge that 2 days prior to January 6th, that your father-in-law authorized, as required by law, up to 20,000 troops to be called up. Nancy Pelosi, Bowser didn't call them up, nor are they being questioned. Can you explain that to me?
If only I could, Sean. Look, the fact that there is even a producer involved in this spectacle on Thursday, and that's exactly what it is. It's a spectacle. I was a producer for a long time. And why do you get a producer for a situation like this? You get a producer because you want to tell a story, because you want to frame information and feed it out to people in a very specific way. You don't need a producer if you're simply putting out all the facts and telling the truth, which we know we're not going to get on Thursday from the individuals in charge of this January 6th hoax. This is the biggest scam on Thursday perpetrated on the American people since the Russia collusion hoax. This is total nonsense that you're going to see on Thursday. And the problem is they know it. The Democrats know people do not care about this. They're desperately trying to get people to buy into this. But the problem is people are more concerned, Sean, with the super high gas prices they're having to pay, figuring out whether or not they can buy enough groceries to feed their family every week, the fully open, dangerous southern border, finding baby formula. These are the things that the individuals on this January 6th committee should be focusing on fixing for the American people. But instead, they're pushing this because they know they have nothing to show as they go towards November.
And, Joe, they want to now abolish the Electoral College, we find out from Jamie Raskin. If they really cared about riots, why are they ignoring the 574 in the summer of 2020 that killed dozens of Americans, that injured thousands of cops and cost billions in property damage, where 624 arsons took place, 97 police vehicles were burned? Well, why didn't they care about any of those riots? I thought, we should condemn all riots. They said they were mostly peaceful, though.
All riots are created equal, Sean. And when you look at what happened in Minneapolis or Seattle or Los Angeles or Chicago, New York, Atlanta during that horrific summer and some still continue to this day as far as what we're seeing playing out in our TV screens. Look, Democrats and Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney insist that this January 6th committee and the hearings are not about political theater or partisanship. So what better way to prove that than to hire a guy in James Goldston, who literally has been paid to produce partisan political theater during his broadcast news career spanning decades at ABC. And again, this is the guy, as pointed out by Kevin McCarthy, who made sure the Jeffrey Epstein bombshell that ABC first had never saw the light of day. Think of all the victims that could have been spared if James Goldston had decided to go ahead with that story, but he had to protect Epstein for whatever reason. And that's who the Democrats and Cheney and Kinzinger are hitching their wagons to. Goldston, like so many others in this business who claim to be journalists, they're actually political activists. And the American people know that these hearings are nothing more than weaponized political ads aimed at hurting the opposition party. Remember January 6, 2022, by the way, 6 months ago, all the news networks went wall to wall to wall celebrating that anniversary. They pushed the hyperbole button up to 24 from a scale of 1 to 10. And the ratings from that day, go back and look at them. They were lackluster. There was barely a bump despite all the hype, because most of the American people have bigger things to be concerned about that Lara just brought up. So in the end, I don't think you're going to see the needle in the court of public opinion move one bit. In fact, Sean, I think this is going to have a boomerang effect on the Democratic Party and the Republicans that are involved with this in this particular hearing, Sean.
I think Americans will see right through it. And Laura's right. Gas prices, supply chain, baby formula, inflation, that'll rule the day. Thank you both. More Hannity next.
Free speech is under attack. For over 20 years, FIRE has defended free expression on college campuses, standing with students and faculty when they face censorship. Now, FIRE is expanding our mission to protect freedom of speech for all Americans, no matter where you're from or what you believe. At the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, we believe free speech makes free people. We're fighting for your rights and our culture of free expression.
So this is the Meta Portal Plus, a smart video calling device that makes working from home work. It syncs with your favorite VC apps, so you'll never miss a meeting, and neither will she. Meta Portal, make working from home work for you.
Men over 45, do you have a frequent urgent need to urinate day and night? I have good news. Presenting the UroLift system, an outpatient treatment that simply reopens the channel to increase flow with no cutting. Yes.
Most side effects are mild to moderate. Serious bleeding and infection events are rare. Visit urolift.com.
Ask your urologist about UroLift or call 800-752-1100 today.
It's okay to show emotion, in the kitchen especially.
These kids, they are true monsters in the kitchen.
All new MasterChef Junior, Thursdays on Fox, and watch anytime on Fox Now or Hulu.
Roy and Debbie retired, then had to face a volatile market. They contacted their personal capital advisor and checked our free retirement planner. Now they feel confident and no longer worry about what the market may bring. Start today at personalcapital.com.
Saturday, it's Baseball Night in America on Fox. It's an iconic showdown as the Cubs take on Aaron Judge and the Yankees.
It is gone!
Or an NL West rivalry is reignited as Mookie Betts and a star-studded Dodger lineup face the Giants.
Monster shot!
It's Baseball Night in America, Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox.
If something happened to you, what would happen to them? Their home, their education, their future. You need life insurance, and chances are SelectQuote can help you get it for less than $1 a day.
SelectQuote found Jacob 40 a $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. And SelectQuote found his wife Wendy a $500,000 policy for only $17 a month.
Our secret? At SelectQuote, we aggressively comparison shop up to 10 highly rated companies to find you the company with the best rates.
We found Gary, 35, a $1 million policy for only $22 a month.
Why pay more? Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford.
Text QUOTE to 323232 or go to selectquote.com now and get the insurance your family needs.
At a price you can afford. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Attention Zantac users. The FDA requested manufacturers to pull Zantac off the market, noting exposure to unacceptable levels of a cancer-causing agent. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with cancer after regular use of Zantac, you might be entitled to financial compensation. If you have any of these cancers, time is critical. Call now for a free consultation. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
Call 800-836-6406.
People getting frustrated, they're playing politics.
Will there ever be accountability? We're just on the same wavelength as our audience.
Multiple crises happening all at once. That's what you do in life. You have to double down.
You're in for something fascinating.
All right, before we go, today is the 78th anniversary of D-Day, when the bravest men ever lived and stormed the beaches of Normandy to defeat evil in their time and save the world. We'll never forget their service or their sacrifice. All right, that's all the time we have left this evening. In the meantime, let not your heart be troubled. Thank you for making the show possible. Laura's next. See you tomorrow night.
I'm Laura Ingraham. This is Ingram Angle from Washington tonight. Thanks for joining us. West Winging it. That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, for months now, we've been telling you that things have been coming off the rails inside the Biden White House. So you got cratering poll numbers, you got higher costs for everything. People are leaking on each other now. And at this point, you got to think
Republicans are trying to craft as the bigger umbrella to describe these gun legislation, these talks that they're having right now. Beyond that, there's the issue of safe storage laws. That's also on the table. If people don't store their guns properly and they're used criminally or dangerously, there should be some liability for that. And finally, school safety. This is an issue where the more Republicans give on other stuff, the more they're likely to get on this. Democrats don't want to concede they're living in a world where schools need to be fortified like they're war zones, but that may be the world that some people believe we're living in now.
And Sahil, I know you've got a little bit more reporting tonight on what's next for the group of senators working on the bill. What can you tell us?
That's right. That core group is meeting tonight over dinner. Nobody would tell us where exactly they're meeting, but they're very upbeat on negotiations. This is the most positive I've seen senators about the prospect of some deal on the issue of gun reform, gun policy in about a decade or so, ever since that Manchin-Toomey negotiation in 2013 following the Sandy Hook shooting. That does not mean, however, that they're going to get this done. They've come close many times. They've failed many times. Right now, you have everyone from John Cornyn, the lead Republican negotiator, to Chris Murphy, the leading Democratic negotiator, very optimistic about coming to some sort of an agreement this week that won't include legislative language. It could include an agreement in principle. And crucially, the big difference here is Mitch McConnell, the Senate Republican leader, is on board, at least blessing these negotiations in a way he has not done in the past with major gun talks, particularly after a mass shooting. Gadi.
Thanks, Sahil. The White House is on defense after suffering a setback in the Summit of the Americas. Some leaders now saying they're boycotting the gathering, which kicks off Wednesday in Los Angeles after Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua were not invited by the Biden administration. Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador saying there cannot be a summit if all countries are not invited. Kelly O'Donnell joins us now from the White House. Kelly, migration is the key issue at this summit, but the presidents of Honduras and Mexico aren't attending. How much of a shadow is that going to cast, and is that going to be a problem for the Biden administration?
Well, it is certainly awkward, and it is something the White House has to deal with. But the argument that the White House is making is the U.S., as the host of this summit, has control over the invitation list. And they believe that this should be a summit of democracies in the Americas, and they don't believe that dictators should be included. So Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua are not included, and they have been preparing for this kind of backlash from other leaders. There's no question that having an important partner, especially Mexico, with all of the relationships on so many levels, migration,
vive mejor.
Las millas que recorres dejan huella, redibujan mapas y construyen sueños. Siente orgullo de las millas recorridas y las que están por venir. RAM es lo que hacemos.
Willingham se acerca peligroso al área.
Mientras los jugadores se sigan deslizando para celebrar, tú puedes contar con Geico para ahorrar dinero. En 15 minutos podrías ahorrar 15% o más.
And now, most admired alum.
Get up there. It's so embarrassing. There's no way it's me.
You know her. You love her.
Ruh-roh. What are you doing here?
It's Anna Gomez! Who? Our first Gadillionaire. With AT&T Fiber, Anna's got the fastest internet with hyper-gig speed.
I didn't know you went to the school. We have a lot in common.
Live like a Gagillionaire with AT&T Fiber. Now with speeds up to 5 gigs. Limited availability.
Estás viendo Twilight and the Weather Channel en español.